Wrong is wrong and what's right is right. I believe that a hard day's work is worth a hard day's pay. I believe in the Lord above. We should walk his walk and I'll share his love instead of marching to the beat of the devil's parade. I will not be broken. I won't stand around and trust some bleeding heart. It's time we all stood up, be outspoken. Bring it on, I don't care who you are. I won't be broken.
And that's how we start our show at the Real Deal Broadcast. Hi, I'm Terry Anderson. Welcome, you guys. I wanted to introduce our this is kind of a big thing, guys. We are bringing on a new co-host. Bo Carver is still with us. He's not here tonight. He's got a birthday thing that he's going to, but we had Robb Jones on a few weeks ago as our guest co-host, and we had decided that he is so smart and so sharp and so good looking that and we were bragging on this about how we can, and so intelligent. He's the best guy ever, and he's the best patriot you ever met. And yeah, so we're going to go on and on, but we are bringing Robb on.
Checks in the mail, brother. Checks in the mail.
We're bringing Robb on as our weekly co-host, and he's going to be on every week or miss a week here and there or whatever. But we just thought that Robb was such a great asset and a great guy to bring on, and a great source of just, knowledge about the Patriot community and the Constitution and everything else. So welcome, Robb Jones, Speed Racer.
Howdy, y'all. Glad to be here. Hashtag glad to be here.
How are you doing tonight, buddy?
It's Thursday.
Yep.
So it's time.
It is Thursday. That's why we kind of like to have this on Thursday night. It's kind of like a softball into the weekend, just, and start your weekend off right. For anybody who's got an easy work day tomorrow, they can get riled up with some politics and some patriotism and be fired up for Friday, right?
Yeah. Well, and we're still recovering from Tuesday.
Yeah. So Super Tuesday, how do you think that went, Robb?
Well, so I'm in northwest Kaufman County, and the Kaufman County is, I don't know if there's a more corrupt county in the state of Texas. It's run by rhinos, right? And there's a particular law firm. I won't mention names. I don't want to get Real Deal Broadcast sued or anything, but there's a law firm that
not on your first night anyways, right?
They're being indicted for fraud, right? And they're kind of some of the marionette holders that anyway. So there were a lot of the big for our House District 4, Keith Bell, rhino extra. He's not even a rhino. Right. He's from the Keith Bell party, right? Voted to impeach Ken Paxton along with a lot of other things. So we were supporting Josh Feurenstein. Josh is new to the area, and he was fighting a big machine. And there were some precinct chairs that we're acquainted with that it's a political machine here in Kaufman County, right? If you're tied in with the right rhinos, you've got to be an easy path. So we did have a couple of victories, but for the most part, it was like, rinse and repeat. There
were some victories, that I saw, and we've got a couple good runoffs going on in Texas. And, we've got viewers from all across the country, but we're here in Texas. And so, but what we were talking about earlier was, that's what the Constitution wanted, was this to be affected at the grassroots level or at the local level, so that that we could actually control our local government, and by controlling our local government, we could then ipso facto control our state government, and then by controlling our state government, we can control the federal government. We've lost sight of that.
Yeah, we did have a major win in Grayson County.
Right.
Our girl, Shelley Luther.
Remember,
she was at our very first Patriots at Large rally, March 2021. Her and her husband were there.
Yeah, down in Laredo. Yep.
Yeah, at the border where we were watching people wade across the water.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. Who'd have thought?
Migrants and drug dealers. We saw them both that night.
Yeah, who'd have thought 3 years? Yeah, the first night we got in, remember we met with Pastor Tovar down there the night before, and we're like, hey, what's that in the water over there?
Yeah, they were floating these big garbage bags.
Right.
Anyway, yeah. Right.
Well,
this is like right there.
Yeah, we've seen a lot. You and I have been on a lot of MAGA DTI runs, and we may or may not have seen that bus that went with Kamala Harris from. I don't know. I'm not.
Might or might have
Might
not
or might
been
not have been there. I cannot.
really close to smashing
cannot
into
neither
it.
acknowledge nor disclose whatever happened there. But anyways, man, so we're excited to have you on, Rob, and a lot of stuff going on. Trump swept, the presidential nomination, obviously. There's a lot of good things coming up for Patriots, but we are still dealing with the aftermath of Biden's regime, and we do have some guests on tonight that are going to kind of help share with where they've been with that and what that's looked like for them. So, and we're waiting for one other guest to pop on, but he is not on, and I think he's getting situated where he's at. And that's another just, these are, some of these are heartbreaking stories and some of them are heartwarming stories. But the guests that we have on tonight, I'm going to go ahead and bring them on. This is Thomas and Stephanie, and add to stage. There they are. Hey guys. Hey. Welcome.
Hey.
So where are you guys at right now? Are you in what state are you in?
We're in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
How's the weather out there?
Well, there's snow on the ground right now, out of nowhere.
Wow. Yeah, we just got a cold front move in. It probably came from you guys. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
You get snow on the
We'll keep on keeping on.
You got snow on the ground and Trump back on the ballot.
Oh, hey.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah, what happened with that? Thank God your judges got voted down 9-0.
I know.
Yeah, that was such fake news. We knew it wasn't going to happen anyway.
Right. Right.
You see all these people on social media right now attacking even the left in the Supreme Court. So it's just amazing that, it doesn't matter who you are or what side you're on. They're going to go after you.
Right.
Yeah, the left definitely does eat their own.
Yes, they do.
But you're absolutely right. They're going to come after you for being a Christian, for being a patriot, for being a January 6th, for any of this stuff. And honestly, Thomas, you got Tom up here, but I've been calling you Thomas for the last couple months that we've been getting to know each other. Which do you prefer, young man?
Whichever rolls off your tongue.
Thomas. I'm calling you. That's what I called you first. That's what I'm sticking with. But
Sounds
listen, so
Thomas, it is.
We have, this is kind of a unique situation. We've got two stories wrapped in one with one family, and they're both part of the same of the two stories. But the first thing I want to dig into, Thomas, is I want to talk about your January 6th conviction, about your involvement with the insurrection there, which is bullshit, and we know that. And then I really want to hear from you, when James gets on here, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but about how that was for you in there and what it's like for you now that you've been out, and just tell us your story, Thomas. Glad you're here.
Well, thanks for having us. I don't believe that it would have been quite the journey if I didn't have such a wonderful, loving, and supportive wife that can handle anything that falls in front of her. She's amazing.
Awesome.
So that would be the first part of my story is, her and I, we prayed on this thing, and, we never were really political until Trump was on the ballot. And I don't even think she realized that she was had conservative values until I started speaking out about my support for Trump when he was running as a president. And in all honesty, that was really one of the first times that I remember actually voting, like seriously voting for a candidate. And I thought that was going to be the beginning of change for what seemed to me was just a bunch of crap that I never wanted to pay attention to. I was always kind of like, look the other way and it'll go away, but it just doesn't work that way.
Right.
And so we get to 2020 and 2021, and we have an election that was, I mean, I'm pretty good at math, and things didn't add up after it was done. And so my wife and I actually went out to the Million MAGA March and marched to the Supreme Court in November, right after the election. And it was during that time that we had found out about January 6th. We have a few kids, and so it's not really easy to always find somebody to look after them if we want to take off to do something. So Steph and I prayed about it, and the answer was that I would go by myself. And so she helped put the trip together. We, did some planning as far as safeguards and some ideas of what I could do when I got there, so that I wouldn't find myself in a bad situation without, some good people around that might be able to help me. And so I flew out to DC in January of 2021 on the 5th, and I stayed just outside of DC in an Airbnb. Was a really nice trip starting off. Got an Uber in the morning. I had my flak, and I had a helmet attached to my backpack. I had some gloves, mechanic gloves, in case I needed to protect my hands for any reason. And I set out on my way, a little adventure. I was excited, and it was cloudy, brisk, kind of a gloomy day starting off. But when I got there, the excitement and the energy and the spirit of the people that I was around was intoxicating. Everybody was in good spirits. People were shaking hands, taking pictures.
Yeah.
It was exciting. And to see that, and when you think about it, to see that many people in the same place for a lot of the same reasons, which a lot were election, a lot were corruption. And I'm sure there were a few there that were just interested in what was going on and what was going to happen. And so I was around the Washington Monument. I heard, a bunch of patriots speak, and then the headliner, Trump, came out, and, it was really exciting being around all those people. The roar of the crowd when Trump came out was amazing. Like, it was deafening. It was really cool. I hung around for a little bit, but I had this inclination that I should probably get a head start ahead of the crowd. And I just wanted to see what was going on, because with all the stuff that's happened in the past, all the things you see on the news, you wonder, well, what's in store for this event. And so I headed off down the path towards the Capitol, and I was just cruising by myself. Managed to get to the Capitol, and there was a bunch of patriots already there, probably a couple hundred. One group I gravitated towards had some two-way radios, and they had some friends that were by the stage. So they were listening to the speech finish up, and I was able to catch a little bit of that. Heard the famous words of go peacefully, and let your voices be heard. And then pretty soon the crowd was on their way, and I got a front row seat looking at the Capitol at the end of I guess it's the reflecting pool there.
Yep.
And it was really strange to see police officers lined up in a way that, as I grew up with a father who was a former police officer and homicide detective in Fullerton, California, and he was there for the riots in the 70s. And all his stories about things that go on, I was pretty familiar with, the activity and protocols and how the police, carried themselves and set up for certain things. And to me, it just looked like the cops were, hanging out 20, 30 yards apart in a straight line, about 20 to 30 yards back from the wall that separates the lawn in the back of the Capitol from that road that comes around the reflecting pool. And they were just standing there, not close enough to really talk to one another or talk to the crowd. And I remember a lady asked me if I would help her with her dog. She had her big giant poodle there, and I guess it needed to go to the bathroom. She wanted me to put it up on the lawn, so I helped it up there. And then the next thing you know, her kid's up there, and the dog didn't prompt him, but the kid being on the wall prompted one of the officers to trot on over, and he told the lady that, you know, she couldn't have her kid up there and nobody was allowed up on the wall. And so that prompted me to say something, and you know, I turned my attention back to the crowd as it was filling in, and you know, it was still good spirits. Nothing bad's happening yet. The flag for Pelosi as a vampire showed up with Tina Forte, and the only reason I recognized Tina, she's now running against AOC in New York. The only reason I recognized her was I was following her account on Parler. So I took that chance to get a little celebrity shot to send to my wife and say, look who I was around, you know? And then I jumped up on the wall and was looking over the crowd and looking over the Capitol lawn. And I see a Trump flag come flapping out of nowhere. And I was like, well, where the hell did those guys come from? And I guess there was a little underpass that went underneath a portion of the lawn, and it was a sidewalk up to it led up to the back of that podium where they set up the news cameras to film the inauguration. And at that point, I turned around to the crowd and I said, let's go. We're going to the Capitol. And I started pulling people up right and left. And, you know, about the time I got to maybe the 10th or 15th person, they had started to turn around. Not all of them, but some of them turned around and started helping people up. And I was like, well, that's my cue. So I took off trotting towards the Capitol and looking at all the people sprinting past me and walking slowly. And it was really cool. You know, we get up there and I'm jumping up and down on the rotunda like I scored a touchdown. You know, if I would have had a football, I probably would have spiked it. And there was a black gentleman jumping up and down with me, and we're looking at each other, smiling, and just like, yeah, you know. And then out of nowhere, I hear a report, and I saw blood. It looked like blood hit the concrete, and a guy holding the side of his face. And then the crowd kind of went around him in order to help him. And then the guy that was jumping with me, he hit the ground and started doing the fish. And I was like, I didn't know what was going on at the time, you know, because I didn't see that an officer had shot him with a taser. So I reached down to grab him and help him up to see what was wrong. And I got the jolt passed through me and I got shocked. So I pulled away. Hey, James.
Hey, guys.
I looked up to see the officer just with this look, and he's just squeezing the trigger on the stun gun. And I'm just like, what the hell is this guy doing? And as I'm looking at him doing that, another cop comes off to what would be his left shoulder, and he's got a stun gun trained on me. And I'm like, or a taser trained on me. And I'm just like, I'm looking at the guy like, you're not going to shoot me, right? And sure enough, he trades up and down trying to figure out, because I got a flak, so I'm like super puffy. So he knows it's not going to work up here. He's not going to shoot me in the face, thank God. And so he shoots at my legs, and I have the double pleated Carhartt work pants on, which saved me from the barbs because they didn't make it all the way to my skin. And so I saw that. I looked down and I was like, holy shit, he shot me. I'm like, what the fuck? Excuse me. Yeah. But I'm like, what the hell?
What else are you going to say at that point?
I look back up at him, and I just shake my head, and I grab the wires and pull them out of the barbs, and I throw the wires back at him. And I thought to myself, you know, this is my wife in the back of my mind. Time to go, Tom. So I turn around. This is in the very beginning. Like, nothing's happened yet, really, except for this, right? So I turn around, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going anywhere, because the amount of people on the lawn at that particular time, there was no getting through them. There was no backtracking right then. Yeah, so I decided to go with the crowd. And the police officers right there, they grabbed that black fella and drug him back behind the police line. I don't know whatever happened to him. I never saw him after that. And so there was a couple sets of stairs. I think there was 2 sets of stairs. Anyways, we went up one set. Then there was another set of 7 stairs. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the police showed up with these big barricades. And they ran them right into the front line of the crowd. And the first thing that we did, because we're on the stairs, is we grab onto the banisters or the barricades to balance ourselves, and then it becomes a tug of war. And we managed to pull the barricade away, and it got crowd surfed out the crowd. And then all of a sudden, more police are showing up, and they're really starting to pack in. And then the Patriots are starting to come in. Nobody's doing anything that would warrant the type of actions that the police were, were participating in. They really started to get aggressive to the point. Well, they looked frightened for one. They didn't look prepared. They looked scared to death on a lot of their faces. They didn't know. It looked like they didn't really know what the next steps to do were. They didn't know, exactly what was going on at that time, because nobody had really started doing any of the bad stuff as far as on the police line. And then you got a couple of them that they pulled out their batons and they started whacking people, and that really upset, some of the individuals, because they're standing there protesting, not being aggressive, and they get hit with a baton, and then the bear mace or the mace came out right after that. And I tell you what, that stuff's nasty. When you get sprayed in the face with that, it really makes you think twice about what you want to do next, but there's so many people, and everybody's like pushing forward, trying to help one another. People are pouring water all over others' faces. They're helping, the people that are disoriented from being blinded by the mace and not able to breathe because, we're patriots. We know masks don't work. So, nobody was really wearing a mask. It was just, it was ongoing and ongoing. My phone was silenced.
And we know it was cold that day too. I mean, I was there, right? And so it was freezing cold. And I saw it too. They're pouring water all over their face. I mean, that's even cold. You got to be hurting pretty bad to want to pour cold water on you when it's freaking below freezing. And
anything's better than that mace. That stuff burns. It burns bad.
But I saw the same things that you did, Thomas. I saw the unprovoked hits with the baton over the barricades, and I was like, and it's caught on my audio, on all of my video, and on my videoing that I did there. It's like, what are they doing? Why are they hitting them? They didn't do anything, and you can hear it on my videos, and it's like, you sit there and you wonder, why is the government doing this when we're there to express our First Amendment right?
Yeah. I mean, so with all the batons and the mace coming out, it was bad enough. And then the first flashbang hit the crowd. And I tell you what, that was I've never had something explode like that other than a firework. I've never had something explode that actually caused me to become disoriented from the explosion.
Right.
And they threw more than just one in there. There was quite a few in different areas, but the one that exploded next to me, that really that lit me up.
Yeah.
And I tried backing up into the crowd, and this fella come along. And after seeing the pictures of Ray Epps from that day, I wholeheartedly believe that the person that grabbed me and said, "You're geared up to the front of the line and fight," was Mr. Epps himself.
There's pictures of him right next to you.
Yeah. And so, I went from moving a couple steps back in order to avoid getting hit by batons and trying to avoid some of the mace and help anybody that I could. I got pushed right back up to the front. And at that point, after getting pushed up, the crowd had closed in so much that I couldn't get away from the front of the line. So I dealt with it. I stood there. I would duck every now and then to try and get out of line of sight. I would grab somebody to pick them up if they had fallen down because we were on the stairs and they were still pushing with the barricades.
Yep.
And then pretty soon the crowd, somehow or another, a Trump flag comes rolling across the top of the crowd. And so that almost hit me in the head. And I moved some people out of the way because they didn't see it coming and they didn't have any head protection on. So I tried to get them to clear, and then that thing came down. And so in my paperwork, there's a picture of me holding on to the sign with my legs crouched, and
his hand touched the corner of this giant sign that individuals who he was not associated with, he did not attend with, who brought the sign and lifted it up and were lunging it towards the front line of officers. And he's like, this is what his charge was.
Yeah. So me touching that sign and it going to the police line was an assault.
Felonious assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer.
So you never entered
You
never entered the building.
Never went. No, I didn't go in the building. Matter of fact, I saw the
trespassing on Capitol grounds.
Out of nowhere, and I've got this on video when the police they just run away. They just ran away. I have no idea what prompted it, but all of a sudden they just all in single file line took off, hand on each other's back, and they just left. And everybody just closed in on the Capitol. They started climbing. I ended up on top of one of the scaffolds that are off to the right or left side. I was on the side to the right, facing the Capitol. And
you were over on the same side I was. You were on the northwest side.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's where I was. I was on the wall right there, probably 20 yards back. I was on the wall 20 yards back from the barricades. I never left the wall. But, so when that happened, all this happened, the day was great to start, ended up crappy. You end up with some charges. You end up getting incarcerated, correct?
Yep. They came and picked me up on November 9th of 2021 at about 9 a.m. in the morning in front of the Salvation Army when I had gone in there to get some insurance paperwork from my client. And I went to.
They caught him because Tom didn't realize that Telegram was actually social media.
I posted a picture of myself
where you were at. I'm right here.
Picture of myself.
His profile picture on Telegram was his picture from J6 wearing his "Guns Don't Kill People, Clintons Do" sweater.
Oh, God.
I mean, it didn't take that long to put.
Yeah, thank God your wife has got a great sense of humor about this, Thomas, or you'd be divorced.
Yeah.
She's incredible. But just so you know, I missed that sweater.
Hey, let me
just so you know, our daughter is the one who actually led the FBI directly to the drawer where that sweater was located during the raid. So
they raided your house. On top of that, they got you there, but they also raided your house.
They had my business staked out.
So the Colorado FBI, I must say, compared to the stories that I'm aware of, were very respectful in the manner that they searched our stuff. They waited. They were watching us the whole time. They waited until we were separated from the children. The children were at school. I went to the office. He went to a customer's house. So if it weren't for the Salvation Army, our buddy at the Salvation Army calling me saying, SWAT team just came and got Tom. And I was like, what the hell for what? I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what it was for. I had no idea. And then the FBI showed up at our office that we own. And, with their warrant, and they said, we have this warrant. We need to search your place. And I'm like, I'm the only one here. It's payroll day. I can't just leave. And they're like, well, you have to. We need to go search your house right now. And so I had to leave, take them to the house and, and let them in. And that's what I did. And all they wanted the helmet and they wanted the sweater. I mean, honestly, there's nothing. We have nothing in our house, and that's
when they raided my house. They asked me for the keys in my truck, and I said they're over there. And by the time I told them where they were, I hear as they're breaking the windows in my truck. They broke into my gun room. They tore my house apart. They literally shredded my house. They went all out.
They even warned me. They said, they didn't take our computers. They said, if you use those computers for your work stuff, and if they're considered work computers, then we can't take them. They gave me that advice. So
right.
They were working on just Tom didn't use the computer for anything anyways. He's not very techy. He used his phone. So.
Well, let me ask you this, Thomas. So you got arrested. You did some time, and the story I'm trying to get to involves this guy next to you eating his first home cooked meal in how long, James? How long's it been since you had a home cooked meal, brother?
This is my first real one in 29 months. So,
29 months,
yeah.
man. James just got home today, you guys. He just got home.
Yeah.
Congratulations, brother.
Just fires me up, man. I'm so fired up for you, dude. If you're home and you're eating a home cooked meal, and I texted you and I said, man, if you need to take this time with your family, just do that, man. And so I appreciate you coming on. And I was watching you eat, and I'm like, we'll just keep talking with Thomas. Keep eating for a while.
Well, it was a busy day at work today, so I just got off of my ankle bracelet. I'm on my ankle bracelet now. So
it's funny that we're clapping about that. We're applauding that. Yay!
yeah.
Yeah, meal.
I know, right? Oh no, my mom can cook, so yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
Oh yeah, turkey, cranberry sauce, gravy, stuffing, green beans,
Wow.
homemade bread,
Artesian bread.
Yeah, yeah.
you tell your mom and dad that we all think you're a hero, and we're so proud of you, and we're proud of all the J6 defendants and the political prisoners and everything you guys went through. So, you know, that was the reason I wanted to have you guys both on for the at the same time. And James, I'd love to hear, you know, part of your story, how you got there and all that stuff too. But the big part about this story is that you two met in a federal holding facility. You know, and what has inspired me about you guys is that after meeting in this federal holding facility and working your way out, you just got out on, you're still basically on house arrest, but you were in a halfway house when we started talking. Thomas just gotten out, and I'm watching these two guys, and they're like, you know what, we're not quitting. We're going to stay in the fight. We're going to talk about this. We're going to make sure that we continue to fight for our country. And you guys, that gives me chills. That just makes me want to try harder too, because we know that we've got other guys that have been through all this stuff. You know, I'm under indictment, but I haven't been incarcerated yet, and knock on wood, I won't if I win my appeal. But, you know, to watch you guys go through this and then watch you guys come out stronger patriots, probably better men than you went in, you know, more worldly, more wise. You know, I'm just in awe of you two. So, and I didn't want to steal your story, but I wanted to get to that. So, James, tell us how you guys met. I know I kind of shared it there, but, you know, so what was that like with you guys in federal holding together?
Well, it was, I remember the first day I saw Tom, you know, I hadn't been with any other I had been with one other one, and Adam Honeycutt was there. And, you know, whenever a new guy comes to the block, everybody, you know, walks around and figures out what the guy is there for. Is that distracting? Can you hear? That's the pug in the background grunting. Sorry.
You're fine.
So,
it was your stomach from all that food.
No. It's the pug struggling to breathe. So it was no. So I, you know, the guys come up to me and they're like, "Hey, there's another one of you J6ers," and you know, immediately I'm like, "What?" You know, and I go downstairs to where he had gotten his bunk, and there's, you know, I introduced myself to Tom, and we started talking, and, you know, immediately, you know, friendship was kindled, you know, and it was, you know, it's immediate, like, we knew we had each other's backs, you know, right off the bat, and we stuck together, and there was multiple times throughout incarceration where he had my back, and situations were getting rough. And he was there to, you know, mitigate or to show his support. And, you know, it was like that wherever we went. Whenever there was a bunch of us together in a block or you know, an area, we always grouped together because people knew that, and they knew they didn't want to mess with us because one goes, everyone's going. and it was, you know, it was at one point there was four of us in the block together, and we you know, me and Tom, you know, we were bunkies, and shared a cut, and we've gone through seen some brutal things in jail together, and you know, and you share everything while you're there. You know, it's a different experience. It's a whole different world. You until you're part of it, you'll never understand. You know, and no, but I'm better to be with him. You know, when I was there, you know, I'm a better man now for it, and he kept me safe and kept me going. So it was a good time. To good person to be with, you know, during that time. But you know, and we kept each other up, you know, because without that motivation, there's times when you just you second guess yourself, and you really second guess, like, am I as bad of a person as they point me out to be?
Right.
You know, and that you question it, because it's nothing at everything that they, you know, I got arrested October 7th, shortly before he did, and I was you know, I was a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne, and I you know, I was, you know, I'm thinking this whole military career and life that I've always been the best person. You know, I've gone through I was an alcoholic for like 4 years, 3 years. I struggled with alcohol pretty hard, and I kicked that in 2020. And you know, often when you know, when that demon's off your shoulder, your eyes open up, and I started seeing the world for what it was more, and I started getting into politics because of it, you know, and I started seeing everything that was happening, and it was like someone took horse blinders off me, you know, and I saw everything for the first time in 2020, and everything going on. And you know, and January 6th came, you know, my buddies text me, and they're like, "Hey, you want to go to the Trump rally?" And I said, you know, sure, you know, why not? You know, and we were expecting Antifa, and we were expecting to get into it if we had to. You know, we saw videos of them, you know, beating people and all this other stuff. So I was prepared, ready to go. But turned out they were there just dressed up as us. You know, we were kicking them out of the crowd. You know, we were when one person was acting out of sorts, we would kick them out. But then they were just so many of them, right? And I was right where Tom was, you know, and I remember seeing him get, you know, covered, you know, in bear mace, you know, in his orange and green, or his Hillary sweater cover and everything. I remember talking to him that day too. I remember, but he was just got bear maced, and he was not happy at the moment, because, you know, when someone blasts you.
Wait, you saw each other at January 6th too?
Yeah.
You saw each other before?
I don't think he remembers me there. I was wearing my hard hat and everything, and the heat of the moment when he's covered and he can barely see.
Oh man, yeah. He's like, who's that guy in the hard hat? I'm never gonna remember him.
I remember talking, like, I'm like, what? They blasted you, and he's just like, like, but no, it was, you know, it was the whole experience. Like you were talking about the police, like I was right up at the front, right where you were I climbed over that wall where you were standing on.
Yep.
And they were waving people up, you know, yep. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but all I could hear was that guy with a megaphone.
Move forward.
Yes,
Move
that
forward.
was the only thing. Exactly.
I mean, we all heard it. I mean, Robb Jones is up here in the right corner. His wife was there with us as well. We heard the same thing, and there was 2 or 3 of them around, and they were operatives. You know, they were operatives. They never moved forward. They stood there all day, and they were inciting a riot is what they were doing. And that was the FBI that put them guys up to that, every bit of it. Hey, it wasn't your stomach. It was the dog.
We got a Shih Tzu, and he can hardly breathe sometimes too, a little snorter.
But
So this is my Patriot Walter, Patriot dog Walter. Yeah, he's 13.
what a blessing to see you home, man. He actually jumped on earlier, and he told me he had something to do today, and I guess I didn't understand. And then when he jumped on earlier on the podcast here prior to us going live, and I'm like, he goes, I just got my ankle monitor put on, and I didn't know. And I'm like, what do you mean your ankle monitor? Are you going home because you'd been in a halfway house? He goes, yeah, I'm on my way home right now. And man, I had chills up and down my spine. It was just awesome, dude.
Oh, I couldn't tell you how excited I am to sleep in my bed. You know that.
Yeah.
And anyone who's like Tom can attest, the mattresses that we had were that should have been a crime to give somebody that, you know, like, and it was it was brutal. And the worst thing was that there was a couple things. So the lights never really go off, so you know you're always having the worst sleep of your life. And then there's the drug addicts that like to stay up all night and party, and it's like, oh man, you'll just never sleep, you know. And then the food's horrendous, and so you don't know what's going on the outside. You're lost, you know. And they stifle your communication like crazy, and you can't see any real news. All you can watch is, you know, the government propaganda that's on, you know, CNN or Fox and whatnot, you know.
One thing I've learned from being involved with American Patriot Relief for the last, you know, year and a half, and meeting a lot of patriots, and it's been you know, an honor to meet, you know, a lot of the J6 defendants and stuff like that. But one thing I've realized is that you know, our stories are all you know, different, but they're all really pretty much the same. You know? We were all there. It happened to us all, you know. But the biggest thing that I saw from you guys, because now we are seeing guys that are getting out. You guys met Rusty Alford the other day. He's getting out. You know, he just got out. He's trying to put his life back together again. And what just encourages me beyond the words I can even express is that you guys, when we've talked, you're like, you know what, we want to speak on behalf of American Patriot Relief and about what happened and about our story. And we don't want this we're not going to have this shut us down from being patriots. And I can't even put into words how proud I am of you guys for that. You know,
a lot of people would just say, hey, I did my part. I did my time. I'm done, and walk away. So, you know, thank God for you guys stepping up and ready to step back in the fray. You know, because, you know, this is going to be an interesting summer, right? I hope everyone's got their freaking popcorn ready, because it's about to happen. You know.
Yeah, I am right. I don't know if you guys. I'm a big energy guy. Like, I feel, you know, and I feel like you can feel it. You can feel the atmosphere. You can feel the vibration, and things are coming, you know, very fast. And you see it with key players are out of the game now, you know, and
Mitch McConnell's out.
Yeah, like people
Cinema's out.
Yeah, all these people all retiring all of a sudden, like there's a freight train coming, you know. It's got Trump on the side of it.
That's right.
One thing we need to do is just continue to stay focused on that. That's why I said you guys are awesome for wanting to stay involved, whether it's with APR or speaking. And you guys, hey, if you get a chance, if you guys have any needs, gifts and go, you know, we try to help out with American Patriot Relief. But if you guys want to put your gifts and go in the comments below, if you need any financial help, I mean, this is a great time to do it. You got hundreds of people watching right now. There's going to be thousands of people that watch this over the next week.
I sent you the link earlier on your email. Ours is givesendgo.com / what was it, Patriots?
You should be able to see right in there to put a comment in yourself. If you go over to the right-hand bar, there's a comment button. You see that comment button on the right-hand bar?
It just says chat.
Uh-oh, we just deleted.
I'm going to push stuff.
Just
don't let him push stuff.
I'll do it.
Oh, I see. Comments. Here we go. Join the chat.
There you go.
Oh, it's going to make us leave to join the chat.
No, it shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't.
It's going to open up you.
Uh-oh, it did.
Ruh-roh.
You guys,
Ruh-roh.
girls knows.
Oh, they're back.
Here, just
We're
go
back.
ahead,
Look at
go ahead,
that.
go ahead and
We
tell
did
it
it.
to me, and I'll put it in.
Okay, it is.
Give, send, go. Right.
Yep. Give, send, go / Patriots fight.
/
Patriots
Where's
fight.
the dang / Now you're getting me to show how what a crappy typer I am. Where's the / There it is.
Hunt and peck. Hunt and peck.
I got it. Okay. Uh-oh. I just entered that. God dang it. Give,
You got the first part.
go / and what is it after that?
GiveSendGo.com / Don't forget the .com.
/ What is
that
it?
your baby again? /
Someone
Patriots
that's someone
fight.
else's dog.
That's Rob's dog.
That's mine.
Are you
Since we just went out the front door.
GiveSendGo.com /
Patriots fight. Yeah.
It's / not / there, brother.
That is a /
I'm not even. I can't even watch.
Patriots fight.
Steph's like, just give me the keyboard. Give me the
Right.
keyboard. I'll do it.
And it's Thomas and Stephanie Hamner too, you guys. If you want, look them up. If you don't get it off of here, call me. We'll get it to you guys too. But I think I put it in there. Right. You're right. But hey, so and I don't want to minimize y'all's J6 story because it's awesome, and the whole part about you guys being out and being friends. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of guys that have been to war together, right? You got veterans that come out and they've got these guys that they serve time with in Iraq or in World War II, and they come out and they're friends for life. So to me, it's like that is something awesome that has come out of this for you too, and I'm so happy for you guys for that. And I noticed it right away when we had you on the first meeting. You're like, "Hey, Thomas." So these guys, they got one of those things going on. And so just keep on keeping on. But I do want to talk to you about Stephanie and Thomas because here's what we do, and we talk about a lot of different things. In American Patriot Leaf, that I'm I'm the executive director and one of the co-founders on. We talk about the overreach of our federal government and how it affects us in different ways. And January 6th is the tip of the spear. What you guys went through, you guys are the ones that really showed the public what's happening with the tyrannical overreach of our government, whether it be federal, local, state, whatever. And so when I got to talking to Thomas a little bit, and we talked to Stephanie about what had happened with your daughter, I want you to tell us a little bit about this, because this is just another example. And it's like we got three stories. We got Thomas, we got James, we got Stephanie and Thomas's deal with their daughter on here, guys. This is just so exciting to hear all this stuff. But Stephanie, tell us what's going on and what happened with your daughter, because this is just a tragedy right here.
Sure. So Tom was incarcerated. He got sentenced to 30 months for civil disorder. So when he left, I was here running we have 4 businesses. We have 7 children. Luckily, half of them are out of the house. And I'm doing the damn thing while he's gone. And I took my then 13-year-old child, my daughter, to a mommy-daughter trip to Nashville, Tennessee to go to a Christian concert series called Winter Jam. It was our first mommy-daughter trip. We were having a great time. Our daughter suffers from some mental illness issues that we had been in treatment for 7 years in Colorado. So it was nothing new to us. She has a borderline personality disorder, OCD, ADHD, generalized anxiety disorder, all the things. But we were getting plenty of treatment out here. And she was actually at that point in time only having to be hospitalized briefly for like 3 days at a time, once or twice a year for a couple of years. So she was doing really, really, really well. And we go and attend this concert series. And then the following day we went to lunch. We went to downtown Nashville to just to shop around, do touristy stuff. They do allow children in bars there up until 6 p.m. So I took her to only one place. We went to Miranda Lambert's because it was like the girly. It was like oh my gosh, everything is pink. There's a girl band here. There were other families there. Kids were dancing, having fun. We went there, and I noticed that she started to have, she gets really jealous over attention if she's not getting attention, stuff like that. I was like dancing with this little kid. She was starting to feel some type of way. We ended up getting kicked out of that place because she started tugging on my hair. We started doing this like, ooh, we're being playful. We're tugging on each other's hair. And she ends up getting really aggressive and just yanking me right out of my chair. And I go toppling down off this bar stool and she falls on top of me. And I literally had only had one drink. I wasn't drinking or being drunk or anything like that. I proved it in the court too with my receipts and my map location history. The bouncer comes, thinks that I'm just wasted. And he's like, you guys got to get out of here. And I'm laughing hysterically. I'm like, oh, my daughter's getting kicked out of a bar. This is hilarious. And I'm having a great time because I think it's really funny. Well, my daughter was really embarrassed and ashamed. So that's what starts this episode, we'll call it. And she has a history of lashing out verbally, acting out aggressively, and also claiming false abuse all the time. She's got a 1,000-page mental health record that proves it. DCS in Colorado knows us out here. They've investigated us successfully several times with no issues out in Colorado. Other than my daughter has a history of doing this. So when we were crossing the street, surrounded by 200 people in downtown Nashville at 2nd and Broadway, I was trying to cheer her up. I was like, don't let it ruin your mood. It's fine. And I had my boots were in my hand because my feet were really sore. And I literally just swung my boots up one time and I tapped her on the butt. I was like, bop. I did a bop on the butt, boop, just to try to be playful. And she proceeds to fall to the ground doing her, theatrics of, don't touch me, get away from me, this whole, and so this mama bear group sees what's happening. And of course they think they know what's going on, but they don't know what's going on in my life. They see a child, like, now you're, and I'm just like, really? I'm like, get up, come on. And we go through this all the time. It's nothing new. Well, what ended up happening was those women surrounded my daughter. They would not let me near my child. They were like, get away from her, don't touch her. And she was getting the attention that she was seeking. They phoned police and I was like, well, okay, they're not letting me near my child and they're on the phone with police. The police are going to get this whole thing sorted out. I proceeded to cross the street, pick up my car. I pulled the car around to pick up my child. My daughter would not get in the car. They would not let my daughter get in the car. What was I to do then? I have PTSD. It was already a bad scene. I said, well, I'm going to drive to my Airbnb 5 minutes down the road and I'm going to wait for the police to call me because I'm so used to this with my daughter. Like, it's not even a thing. Thought it was going to be resolved. No, they actually came and arrested me. I got charged with severe child abuse and neglect.
Wow.
I was jailed overnight. It's a minimum of 12 hours for a child abuse charge. Jailed overnight. I had to pay $5,000 bond to get out. And that DCS kidnapped my child, and that was 13 months ago. Since then, they have they are breaking every law known to man. So they are not only doing illegal acts, they're doing unlawful acts, and there is a difference between the two. Our daughter has suffered severe abuse. She's been trafficked. She's been sexually exploited. She has been tortured. The things that have happened to our child since being in custody, you couldn't imagine. So I tried to warn them that I said, you don't know what you're doing. Borderline personality disorder, when you separate a child from their parent figure, you actually make it worse. They didn't care to look into it. They didn't investigate anything. They didn't contact any of her mental health providers in Colorado. They didn't do anything. And so my battle right now is really, I've been open to realizing that my calling is family law reform. And so that is my passion now. My email address is actually stopcorruptfamilycourts@gmail.com. I'm going to be, hosting a rally in front of courthouses worldwide on April 24th. Okay. So if you guys want information on that, you guys can email me. This is worldwide. I'm a part of a weekly, podcasters and group of people internationally that meet to talk about parental alienation and all the things happening in our world, not just the U.S. My daughter's been locked in level 4 residential prison for 9 months, like basically never to see the light of day, no education, literally physically abused and tortured and tormented, to the point where, you know, I finally smartened up, you guys, and I hired a lawyer. I paid her $70,000 last year. And I finally got my ass in gear and decided to fire her. But that was in November. So you guys, the courts are holding me hostage by not allowing my attorney to withdraw. Because if they allow my attorney to withdraw, that means they would have to hand over discovery. Okay.
Yes,
they don't want to do that. So
Right.
They are doing everything that they can to not let me be without an attorney. I still am under, so I can't talk. They won't talk to me. They won't give me any information still. My attorney doesn't even show up to court hearings or reply to any emails anymore because she's not really my attorney, but they will not let her go. Tennessee has rewritten all of their laws and statutes years ago, pre-COVID, to make it possible to kidnap your child. It is in my paperwork that my child is Indian, okay? So that is the illegal jurisdiction that they are using to kidnap children in Tennessee. They rewrote the statutes that if your child is found to be delinquent or unruly, they get to keep your child until they are 18, and they can force the parents to move to Tennessee to contain their unruly child until they're 18. It is complete batshit crazy insanity, and I have all of the evidence about it, and nothing can, you just feel powerless. What do you do with all of it?
So this is insane. This is absolutely insane. I mean, what happened at January 6th is insane. We know that. I mean, it's been in the media forever. Sex trafficking, child trafficking is insane.
Sex trafficking has increased 5,000% in the last 5 years, you guys.
Well, Biden's opened the borders, you know.
Yeah, well, you want to know how this is happening? Biden passed a healthcare reform law, which was going to give billions of dollars to the government to create these fake statutes to kidnap your child and institutionalize them, because it's a Medicaid fraud, it's a TennCare fraud. I have all of it.
We have a PFA on here, which is Patriots for America Militia, who I worked with down on the border, where I actually got in my trouble. And it says user, but I know who that is. That's Sean Treadway, probably. And so they dealt with human trafficking here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is one of the hot spots for, you know, sex trafficking. They come up from Mexico or across the country, and Houston and Dallas are the worst. But, you know, this is just another form of that. But the point, I guess, Stephanie, the thing about this is, it's Paul. I'm sorry, Paul Gray, but he's with PFA. But the overreach of these bureaucracies, of these courts, you know, the courts, the Child Protective Service, the overreach of that, the overreach of the government, it's the same thing. This is the tyrannical society that we're living in, with the weaponized DOJ, the way that they're using these bureaucracies to try to manipulate and control the citizens, the citizens. It's a travesty.
But the people need to wake up, you guys. This is what I've discovered, because I've been studying my own law for over 12 months now. Lawyers, first of all, they swear an oath to protect the court, not you. If anybody steps into a court of law, you better have this. This is, here we go, Black's Law Dictionary, okay?
Yes,
they are speaking legalese. We've never gotten out of slavery, you guys, ever. We are still under slavery. Our parents signed us over to the government by registering for a birth certificate. You guys all need to start researching bonds, birth bonds, American nationalism. Honestly, we need to spread this message like a wildfire.
Yeah.
I learned all about this in prison. I actually ended up, I did a 2255. Because stating that the United States government is a corporation, and it's there's
no jurisdiction.
They had no jurisdiction, and I actually sent this in, and guess what? It was reported on by the Daily Beast. Reported on I still have my 2255 in my room.
You guys gotta understand that we should be using affidavits only and staying out of the courtroom, period. Yep. Every time you file a motion, that keeps you in their illegal jurisdiction.
Yeah, that's a whole nother meeting, Stephanie. We're gonna have to we'll have you back on. I'm serious. Let's do this.
I'm trying to spread this message because literally I'm like, I need to save these children. We need to save these families.
Yeah, I have a lot of people that are involved in the same things that you're talking about, and you know, you can see just from some of our comments here, you know, I'm about to claim my name. The U.S. corporation is ran by the British Crown. You know,
there you go. We just came across that, understanding how that we're still involved with British rule.
Yep.
This whole corporation thing. Yeah,
we have a pretty educated audience that's out there. You know, we're running this on Patriots at Large. We're running it on the Real Deal broadcast. Now we just opened up our YouTube channel tonight. But man, we're kind of we are out of time, but
yeah, but a lot of what y'all are talking about started with the Act of 1871, the United States corporation, all of that to pay off our bills from the Civil War because we were broke. That was when they sold us into slavery. And what you were talking
about, your Social Security number is your slave number.
Yeah, and you know what you were saying about the CPS. Well, here in Texas, Child Protective Services, that is one of the main thoroughfares to child trafficking. We went through I am a father of a special needs kid, and my Terry knows Trixie. We talked about her earlier. She took the school district to the shed. We never got she did her legal. She got a law degree in like 6 months. Just like exactly what all I was really able to do is put all the documents in date order, and she had everything else wrapped up. She had them so dead to rights, they settled, right? So we never had to go to the court. So my boy got a free year of
you shouldn't have to. If everybody learns how to do a writ of mandamus, that's your own lawsuit against the government. You don't need an effing lawyer, you guys.
I'll have Troy Smocks on here with you. My attorney, he's my legal consultant, but he's not a trained attorney, but he works with a lot of the guys that are working with like Jake Lang, writing a lot of their briefs and stuff like that. And did you guys know that the only two J6ers that have had their cases won were represented themselves?
Are you serious?
There's a heart attack. James Meeks is one.
That effing says something.
And you know how they did it. You know how James Meeks did it.
No, how did he do it? I'm not following it.
Jurisdiction. You have no jurisdiction.
Because you either have statutory jurisdiction or personal jurisdiction.
But you know what? Here's the thing. It is so scary. Because it's so scary for people when you're walking into a federal courthouse. I go down to Del Rio to the Western District Federal Courthouse once a month, every 2 months, whatever, on my case for the last 2 years. You walk in there, and there is the oppression of the federal government weighing down on you. And you guys know if you've been in their courts there. And it's just like they are so intimidating because they're going to throw the whole weight of the federal government against you. Yeah. So you say, you know what? I don't think this is right. And so I did. I filed I've got my paperwork all right here. I've got a whole file of it right here. I filed
Yeah, what's crazy is I went through that same thing where I was like, oh, it was really scary and all that stuff. And I paid all this money. And it's just like, if I would have just had the confidence in myself from day one, family law is so different, you guys. The family, first of all, it's a magistrate. It's not a judge. They always denied my request for my case to be heard by a judge. So that's bullshit. I've challenged jurisdiction for months because there is no injured party. Okay. There is no injured party.
See mine right here.
What is that?
This is my writ that I filed after the FBI raided my house. FBI. So, and Troy Smock said, you know what? They have no jurisdiction. They have no right. Texas law is sovereign. I should be under Texas sovereign law. So this is a petition for writ of habeas corpus ad subject diem, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
It basically says.
I just did it. I did a habeas corpus for my daughter.
That's what this is. I filed this 2022 right after they arrested me. And it sat in that court for 6 months, it sat in that court until this spring for 2 years until they finally kicked it over to the Western District where I'm at. They said, y'all need to handle this. But the judge would not throw this out. The district attorney is like, you need to throw that out. That has no merit here. The judge says, no, that has merit. It needs to be heard. And so, but they wouldn't
Well,
hear
you're
us
really,
there.
really lucky because I
What?
just got a response back from my habeas corpus. I filed an expedited habeas corpus back
Right.
in January because this is a minor child that we're talking about that's literally been kidnapped for 13 months,
Right.
held against her will, unlawfully detained. So, and the first thing that they did was try to force an attorney on me. And they said, they put in this tiny little print, if you don't object to this, then we're gonna have this attorney represent you. It said that they were automatically gonna have my case heard by a magistrate instead of a judge unless I objected. So I filed these objections. Guess what? I just got my determination in the mail. I was not served, first of all. They're breaking every effing law known to man. This was in my mailbox, not certified mail, not served, nothing. And it says that I have 14 days to respond or appeal. And it's got denied because they're trying to claim that I, as the living, breathing woman, and my daughter is my living, breathing daughter, okay, that I do not have the authority to
defend
litigate
yourself.
on behalf of my minor child. Are you
Yes.
effing kidding me?
That's what they
And
do.
I objected to my case being heard by a magistrate like a month ago, and the ruling is made by a magistrate. So they're going to tell me that I don't have standing over my child, and they're going to hear my case anyways, because Tennessee is all corrupt, dude. Everything in Tennessee is corrupt. You guys are lucky because you guys are basically already in the federal court. You know, that's
But the
where
problem,
everybody needs to go.
see,
right
the same,
to.
the
That's
same
fast lane.
things. If the James Beeks and the other guy, and I can't remember his name right now, that won their cases, they defended themselves. They went without counsel, and it's hard to do. It is hard to do. It's hard to get the
Put
judge
those
to
guys
even
in
allow.
touch with me. I want their info. I gotta.
I
pick
will.
their brain.
We'll have another meeting on this whole thing here. What does that say? Every judge, cop, and attorney is operating unconstitutional and treasonous. So what does this say?
You guys know that statutes
Oh.
are not law. The only
Oh
law
yeah, you
is
guys
the
know
law
what? The
of the
State of the Union address is on right now. We got people saying they would rather watch us than that. Hell yes. So,
That's awesome.
State of the Union address.
Hey, I want to throw this in there so that it's not lost. Some of the best things that we received was not only the letters from our family, which meant the world to us, but I want to really give it up to all the people that went through the Patriot Mail Project and all of those sites that continue to write and did write. And I'll tell you, if I get my way, I am going to shake every single person's hand that wrote me a letter if I can get to them.
that's awesome. You guys are inspiring,
I
man.
saved all of them. He sent them all home.
Hey guys, I want to tell you there was a lot of people. There were a lot of people watching tonight. Jaleese Middleton was watching. You know, she was just sentenced to, or she was just convicted a few weeks ago now. There's a lot of people watching. I got Big Reds watching up in Michigan. We got people all over the country that are watching, and you guys are heroes. Stephanie, you're a hero for fighting for your daughter like that. You know, we have to have people like you guys, like us, that are willing to stand in there and not take no for an answer, and to continue to fight even when it seems like the deck is stacked against us. And so I'm just proud to have you guys on tonight.
Thank you.
We're gonna have to shut off pretty soon. Seriously, Stephanie, we can have you on for a whole nother topic. Tom, you got a warrior on your side there. Too bad she didn't have your paperwork going. But when you were getting arrested, it wasn't fast.
I was like, watch me undo all this shit for everybody and get everybody's record.
She'd have had them hanging by a thread, right? So,
yeah, it's crazy when you're finding this stuff out like after and it was like, why? Like, oh,
you can't do anything after the fact, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
We paid an attorney that was referred to us that was supposed to be the guy to hire,
right?
And I plea out. I mean, come on, you know, like really,
$50,000 later or whatever. It's just ridiculous. And I gotta give it up for you, James. Again, y'all that maybe came on late. This is James. Just got home today after 30 odd months in federal confinement. He's eating his first home meal on the Real Deal broadcast, and we are so blessed to have you on here.
You watching me live.
You didn't waste any time getting back in the fight. Like I want to fight. So,
I couldn't help it. You know, it's just
the
staring
real
at me.
deal American meal. That's what we just saw.
That's it. It's a Patriot meal by Mama Mault right there.
Oh man, what a blessing having you guys on.
I love you, James.
I love you too, brother.
Man, that makes my day, you guys. You know, and that gives us hope for our future. And you guys are younger than me and Rob, and I told you guys this before. You are the next generation, and there's a generation underneath you that needs to be mentored by men like you. I guarantee it. You know, and we're here for you. You be there for the next guy down. 2 go down, 12 stand up. You know, that's how we have to be. So I don't know what else to say, but thank you guys. Rob, we're glad to have you on tonight. The first night as our official co-host on here for all time now. So we'll have you guys on again, and we'll do this again. It sounds like a good thing. So
thank
Love
you
it.
guys. God bless
Thank you.
America.
God bless America.
I'm going to close with our theme song. This is written by the great Clint Moody, who's given us the rights to this song, and Facebook keeps coming back saying, Meta says you can't use that, and you may not hear it. Screw you. We were given this song, so here it is. Listen. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Thank you.
Congratulations, James.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, we're gonna come out and see you, man, because he can travel.
Yes.
He's got a really cool.
Awesome. Yes.
Guys, we'll be back again next Thursday night, 5 p.m. Central. Real Deal Broadcast. We're glad to have you guys. And stay in the fight. Get on. Love you.
I won't
See you all
stand
next week.
around and trust some bleeding heart.
See you guys.